a human being? Like me?
Come a little closer.
Last Stop is a narrative sci-fi adventure in which you play as one of 3 playable characters: Donna, a laid-back teenager; John, a single dad; or Meena, an employee of a secretive organization. The worlds collide when a portal opens up under the city of London and they come face to face with events they would have never imagined possible. This is a review of all 3 stories and all of the endings, so there will be major spoilers ahead. Donna's story is Stranger Danger, in which she and her friends Vivek and Becky observe, become frightened by, and kidnap a mysterious man who they assume to be an alien because of his glowing eyes and all. Well, that and Donna later witnesses him turn into a glowing humanoid with wings. Donna is at first intrigued by the man, particularly because he only talks with her and seems to really be interested in her, as he's often seen asking her probing questions about how she thinks and feels.
Do you find it difficult opening up to people?
What is this, therapy?
However, it starts to become clear that the stranger, although he claims to be a friend, is anything but, and his questions are not without ill intention. Donna starts to mend the relationships in her life, such as revealing her feelings for her friend Vivek and realizing that she's neglected her family in favor of spending time with her friends. This particularly hits hard now that her mother might be dying, and at this point her priorities start to shift. She realizes that the man could leave whenever he wants, and he's only choosing to remain a prisoner. But the strange man isn't going to allow Donna to get close to anyone but him, and he begins to erase their very existence one by one so that Donna will have no one but him. But to his surprise, his powers don't have complete control over her.
I don't know. Something feels weird. Empty.
And even though she doesn't remember her loved ones, she knows she's lost out on something, even as he forces her through the portal and away from her world. Along the way, in Last Stop, you have dialogue options, which for the most part only amount to changes in how your character responds. It doesn't even seem to have a big effect on the NPC's responses in most cases, although there are times when choosing different options provides you different information. The finale is where you have the most control over the game. Donna is now the prisoner, and she feels dejected and alone, and the stranger has become increasingly frustrated with her resistance.
Why?
Because you're mine, and they got in the way. Now shut up, unless you want to end up like the rest of them.
Especially because she starts to adapt to his powers and she remembers more than she should. Meena runs into them and instantly recognizes the situation for what it is, and the two take down the man together. John walks in at this opportune time and they are all accused of murder, but with quick thinking on Meena's behalf, they escape back through the portal. Once home, the stranger visits her from the afterlife and offers her a deal. He can bring back all of the family and friends that he took away, but upon her death, whenever that happens, she must spend an eternity with him. Or she can refuse the deal and never see her family and friends again. They will have forever never have existed. I really struggled with this one, but decided to take the deal because Donna has grown as a person and realizes the importance of her loved ones, and it wasn't their fault that all of this happened, it was hers. So it seemed the most responsible decision of the two. I did go back to see how the other deal played out, and Donna seemed so alone, but satisfied that she stuck to her guns. I know in games there's usually a good or bad ending, but this one was tough to call. So tell me, which one is the good ending and which one is the bad? Let me know in the comments. John's story is Paper Dolls, in which he's a single father to Molly, and there have been some health concerns, as well as involvement by Child Protective Services.
Some of these letters are from social services again.
Don't worry. If they send one of those people around again, I'll shoot them with a machine gun, then push them down the rubbish chute.
His mail often gets mixed up with his neighbor Jack due to them having similar names, and one day the two bump into a man who swaps their bodies in anger. The three decide they must all live together while they figure out what to do, and initially struggle on the adjustment. However, it becomes clear that John ended up with a pretty sweet deal in this swap. Jack's body is younger and healthier, and John has developed a confidence he never could as his old self. He finally has been able to live life rather than just existing. In contrast, Jack has to cope with John's middle-aged body, bad health, Jack recently had a heart attack, as well as losing contact with all of his friends and family, so he's utterly depressed. Meanwhile, Molly has become attached to Jack, who has served as a friend / surrogate second parent for her. The two reach out for help and are eventually discovered by the brother of the man who swapped them, but things become complicated when, in an argument, John's body fails, putting Jack in the hospital. John decides to find the brother alone through the portal so he can switch their bodies back and save Jack's life. During the finale, John receives a one-time use bracelet that can reverse the situation, but later has a conversation with Donna where she asks him if he's actually going to switch back, which is a pretty big decision. I mean, can you imagine having to choose to return to a body that is on the brink of death?
Jack's going to die.
We don't know that.
It's not fair. He's only sick because he's in your body. I shouldn't have made you eat all those chicken dippers.
So your choice is simple, swap back or don't. This one was a no-brainer for me. I swapped back. And I knew it was a risk that John would return to his own body and potentially die, but I don't know if I'd be able to live with myself any other way. Luckily, John survives the health crisis and likely will take his health a bit more seriously this time around, and he's made a new friend in the process. In the alternate ending, Jack survives and goes on to adapt to living a life in John's body, but you can just see the guilt eating John up inside. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Which was the bad ending? Which was the good? Meena's story is domestic affairs and centers on her competition with the younger Amy, who's been brought in to be fast-tracked to take over the same position Meena has worked hard for. Throughout the story, we discover that Meena's been having an ongoing affair with a doctor and has not been a very present wife or mother to her family. As the pressure increases, she becomes more and more paranoid and lashes out. Meanwhile, Meena is also dealing with a father who is buying drugs from someone named Spider, and Meena's story really ramps up when someone blackmails her for her affair. She first suspects her lover's daughter, then Spider, only to discover that Amy has been following her all along. Amy and Spider shoot one another, with Spider dying instantly, and Meena initially attempting to save Amy's life until she realized that Amy is a blackmailer.
Wait a minute. Oh, that makes sense. You're the one who sent me that note. I need to go to hospital. It was you all along. You've been spying on me. What else have you got on me?
I'm dying, Meena.
Listen to me carefully. You're gonna give me everything you've got on me, okay?
So she lets her die. Cold-blooded. She then goes to Amy's home and retrieves all of the evidence that Amy has on her, and when Meena confronts their boss Peter, who gave Amy the surveillance assignment, he flips it on her by telling her the portal is open and he wants her to go to the other side to retrieve Samantha, the friend he lost to the portal 38 years before. Meena, not wanting to pass up the chance, calls her husband to tell him that once again, work comes first. So at this point, Meena has learned absolutely nothing and continues to put her career needs over the needs of her family, even when her boss has clearly been shady. In the finale, the trio actually do find Samantha, who has made a good life for herself in the other dimension and doesn't want to return.
I don't know what to say to you. I'm sorry you came all this way, but I don't want to go back. I didn't want saving. My life's here.
As Samantha discusses the importance of family and happiness and peace, Meena finally wises up and starts to understand what she's been putting her family through all of these years. So comes her choice. Does she quit her job and go to jail for her involvement in Amy's murder? Or does she keep her job so that she can stay with her family and allow the blackmailing to continue? Again, another tough situation because honestly, both of these decisions aren't good. It was more like choosing the lesser of two evils. So I decided that Meena wouldn't want to continue to be under Peter's thumb, and I had her quit and face the music. Yes, she does go to jail, but she's at peace with it and actually seems like this has given her time to mend her relationship with her son and husband. If you choose to have Meena keep her job, she remains a free woman as far as jail is concerned, but she definitely feels trapped in her life. She's getting closer to her son, but it appears that her marriage is over. So what do you think? Which is the good ending and which is the bad? This game was great from beginning to end. Yes, there were some mechanics issues, particularly with the walking, but I enjoyed these stories, I enjoyed these characters, and I just really enjoyed the game. I was surprised that the three didn't actually meet until they were in the other dimension, but it was fun seeing other minor characters show up in more than one story, or to recognize a workplace or a building that was prominent in one character's story show up in another. It was a nice way to tie them all together in a very naturalistic manner. I appreciate how everyone grew in their own way. Well, I guess that depends on which choice you choose in the finale, right? Well, anywho, that is it for Last Stop. I hope you've enjoyed this journey with me. Thank you to all of my viewers and subscribers. I couldn't do this without you. And with that, I've been Journey of the Indie Journey, and I will see you all on the next adventure.